Tamil Nadu government files an additional affidavit with the Supreme Court to stop the measures being taken by the Karnataka government to construct a dam across the Kaveri at Meghadattu. General public hail and thank the Tamil Nadu government for the budget 2015-16, says it aimed at an overall development of the state. And India loses to Australia in the ICC World Cup semi-finals. Australia to meet New Zealand in finals. The news in detail. The Tamil Nadu government, which follows the path forged by the People's Chief Ms. Jaya, has filed an additional affidavit in the Supreme Court today, seeking to stop the measures being taken by the Karnataka government to construct a dam across the Kaveri near Meghadattu. The Karnataka government has been planning to construct a dam across the Kaveri near Meghadattu under the guise of hydropower project, which is against the final verdict of the Kaveri Tribunal. And a sum of 25 crore rupees was allocated for the purpose. The Tamil Nadu government, which follows the path forged by the People's Chief Ms. Jaya, had condemned this move of the Karnataka government and urged the Prime Minister to intervene and stop the construction of the dam. A petition was filed on behalf of the Tamil Nadu government on the 18th of November 2014 with the Supreme Court, urging it to ban the construction of the dam by the Karnataka government across River Kaveri. Meanwhile, the Karnataka government has allocated a sum of 25 crore rupees for taking up the construction work. An additional affidavit was filed in the Supreme Court by the Tamil Nadu government, urging the apex court to stop the measures taken by the Karnataka government to construct a dam across the Kaveri near Meghadattu. In the final verdict of the Kaveri issue, the Supreme Court had not granted permission to construct any structures across the Kaveri River. Also, some petitions were filed with the Supreme Court by Tamil Nadu, Karnataka and other states that are connected to the Kaveri water, seeking certain clarifications and objections after the final verdict in the Kaveri issue was pronounced. These petitions are still pending with the apex court. Under such circumstances, it is unacceptable that the Karnataka government is trying to construct a dam across the Kaveri even after the Kaveri Management Board and the Kaveri Regulatory Committee are not yet constituted. The additional affidavit also noted that the Karnataka government's decision to construct a dam across Kaveri near Meghadattu against the verdict of the Supreme Court and without the consent of the Tamil Nadu government was a violation of law and condemnable. The petition sought that the Supreme Court ordered the government of Karnataka to drop the idea of constructing a dam across Kaveri and to issue a ban against the move. People from various walks of life have hailed and thanked the budget presented by the Tamil Nadu government, which follows the path forged by Ms. Jaya. They said the budget, which was presented in the Tamil Nadu Legislative Assembly, has been framed aiming at an overall development of the state and also to make Tamil Nadu a numero uno state in all fields. The Tamil Nadu budget for the financial year 2015-2016 was presented in the Legislative Assembly yesterday. In accordance with the guidelines showed by the People's Chief Ms. Jaya, the budget did not levy any new taxes. Further funds to the tune of 650 crore rupees was allocated for development purpose. It was informed in the Assembly that steps will be taken to form the Kaveri Management Board and Kaveri Regulatory Committee, and that all legal steps will be incorporated to stop the Karnataka government from constructing dam across the Kaveri River near Meghadattu. People from all walks of life, including the farmers and entrepreneurs, have hailed the budget presented by the Tamil Nadu government, which follows the path forged by Ms. Jaya, as additional funds have been allocated towards the development of all the fields, including education, health, electricity, trade and agriculture.
கோயம்புத்தூரில் இருக்கக்கூடிய கிட்டத்தட்ட ஒரு 500 தொழிற்சாலைகள் கம்ப்ரஸர் அதனுடைய பாகங்கள் தயாரிப்பில் ஈடுபட்டு இருக்கு. இப்போ நேற்று அறிவிக்கப்பட்ட பட்ஜெட்டில் 14%ங்கிறதுலேருந்து 5% குறைச்சி இருக்காரு. இந்த வரிச்சலுகையை அளித்த மக்களின் முதல்வர் புரட்சித் தலைவி அம்மா அவர்களுக்கு நாங்கள் மிக்க நன்றியை தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கிறோம்.
கரூர் மற்றும் பகுதிகளில் உற்பத்தியாகிக் கொண்டிருக்கின்ற கொசுவலை துணிக்கு முற்றிலுமாக 5% வேட் வரியை ரத்து செய்து அரசு அறிவிப்பு வெளியிட்டிருக்கிறது. இதனால் கொசுவலை உற்பத்தி பெருகும். அதே போல மக்களுக்கு குறைந்த விலையிலே கொசுவலை கிடைக்கக்கூடிய வாய்ப்பு இருக்கிறது. தமிழகத்தில் இருக்கின்ற அத்தனை உள்ளாட்சி அமைப்புகளிலும் விலையில்லா கொசுவலை வழங்குவதற்கு இது ஒரு நல்ல வாய்ப்பாக அமையும். இந்த அறிவிப்பை வெளியிட்டதற்காக மக்களின் முதல்வர் அம்மா அவர்களுக்கும் எங்களது கரூர் கொசுவலை நூல் மற்றும் துணி உற்பத்தியாளர்கள் சங்கத்தின் சார்பாக எங்களது நெஞ்சார்ந்த நன்றியை தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கிறோம்.
மீனவர்கள் பயன்படுத்துகின்ற மீன்பிடி கயிறுகள், மிதவைகள், மீன்பிடி பல தயாரிக்கும் நூல்கள், மீன்பிடி விளக்குகள் மற்றும் மீன்பிடி தொழிலுக்கு பயன்படுத்தப்படும் துணை பொருட்கள் மீது விதிக்கப்பட்டிருந்த அத்தனை மதிப்பு கூட்டு வரியை முற்றிலுமாக விலக்கிய மாண்புமிகு புரட்சி தலைவி அம்மா அவர்களுக்கு தமிழ்நாட்டு மீனவ மக்களின் சார்பாக கோடான கோடியை நன்றியை காணிக்கையாக்கிக் கொள்கின்றோம்.
The General Secretary of the AIADMK and the People's Chief, Ms. Jaya Lalita, in a statement released today, said that P. Palaniyappan, the party's headquarters secretary and Minister for Higher Education, has been appointed as the party's disciplinary committee member. She asked the party cadres to extend their cooperation to him. On the advice of the People's Chief, Ms. Jaya Lalita, a meeting was held at the State Secretariat in Chennai on the development of the Rural Development and Local Administration Department. It was asked that the department took measures to expedite its ongoing projects. Minister for Municipal Administration, Rural Development, Local Administration, Law, Courts and Prisons, SP Velumani, today held a discussion meeting with the concerned officials on the functioning of these departments. Themes like Thai scheme, greenhouse scheme and rural road scheme were discussed during the meeting. Several other programs like the employment opportunities for youth and the differently abled were also discussed during the meeting. The officials were advised to complete the ongoing projects in a speedy manner. Secretary of the Department of Rural Development and Local Administration and other officials took part in the meeting. Former Union Minister and senior Congress leader Hansraj Bharadwaj, through the onus of A. Raja of DMK and P. Chidambaram of his own party, of introducing the Section 66A in the Information Technology Act for their own personal benefits. Section 66A of the IT Act has been struck down by the Supreme Court for being unconstitutional and untenable. The Apex Court delivered the landmark judgment on March 24th this year on a petition filed by Shreya Singhal, who sought amendment in Section 66A of the IT Act. While striking down the controversial section, the court said that it affected freedom of speech and expression, adding that the definition for grounds of arrest under the section were vague. Former Union Law Minister H.R. Bharadwaj has dropped a bombshell claiming that former Union Home Minister P. Chidambaram and Raja of DMK were behind the introduction of Section 66A in the Information Technology Act. The countdown for the lift of an Indian rocket with the country's fourth navigation satellite as the sole passenger began at 5:49 a.m. today, the ISRO said. According to Indian Space Research Organization, the 59.5 hours countdown for the launch of Rocket Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle PSLV-27, carrying Indian Regional Navigation Satellite System IRNSS-1D, began in the Sriharikota rocket port in Andhra Pradesh. The rocket is expected to blast off at 5:19 p.m. on March 28th to put into orbit the 1,425 kilograms IRNSS-1D satellite. India has so far launched 3 regional navigational satellites as part of a constellation of 7 satellites to provide accurate position information service to users across the country and the region, extending up to an area of 1,500 kilometers. Though the full system comprises of 9 satellites, 7 in orbit and 2 on the ground as standby, the navigation services could be made operational with 4 satellites, ISRO officials said. Each satellite costs around 150 crore rupees and the PSLV XL version rocket costs around 130 crore rupees. The 7 rockets would involve an outlay of around 910 crore rupees. The entire IRNSS constellation of 7 satellites is planned to be completed this year itself. The first satellite, IRNSS-1A, was launched in July 2013, the second IRNSS-1B in April 2014, and the third on October 16, 2014. Police investigating the rape of an elderly nun in West Bengal have made their first arrest more than 12 days after the crime. The incident caused outrage in India and led to street protests in many cities across the country. 6 alleged attackers were caught on CCTV as they burgled a convent before the 74-year-old woman was raped. The images from the convent of Jesus and Mary were released by police, who offered a reward of 100,000 rupees for any information. Police in Kolkata, the capital of West Bengal, said one of the men they are holding was arrested in Mumbai and had been brought to Kolkata. Senior police official Rajiv Kumar named him as Mohammad Salim Sheikh. Kumar refused to say whether the men were among those caught on camera. The attackers ransacked the convent school in Ranaghat town on 14th March and stole money before raping the nun in the convent itself. The men also stole money from the school, vandalized the chapel, broke open the tabernacle and took away the ciborium, the sacred vessel used during Mass. In recent months, there have been several attacks in India on churches and Christian institutions, leading to insecurity among the community. But it is not clear whether the assault on the convent was sectarian. The Manipur police today fired several rounds of tear gas shells and live bullets as the agitating Village Defence Force (VDF) personnel turned violent and tried to manhandle Impal West Additional SP S. Ibomcha at Khoyatong. After holding a meeting at Thao ground near the AGs of All Manipur VDF Welfare Association, over 1,000 VDF personnel took out a rally towards Chief Minister Okram Ababi Singh's residence. Their demands included honorarium hike, setting up of a separate VDF battalion and service security. A heated verbal confrontation broke out between the VDF personnel and a police team led by S. Ibomcha as a rally was blocked near ABC Godown, Khoyatong. Later, the police teams led by the OCs of Impal and city police stations and Impal West Commando DSP Krishna Tombi also arrived at the spot to control the agitating VDF personnel. The police personnel later fired some tear gas shells to disperse the agitators as they tried to force their way towards the Chief Minister's bungalow, pelting stones on the police. In the clash, a group of VDF personnel rushed towards Ibomcha, with one of them trying to manhandle the police officer who was trying to help an injured VDF personnel. On seeing the attack on the additional SP, Impal West Commando DSP Krishna Tombi and his team fired several rounds of live bullets in the air. Several VDF personnel were taken into custody after the untoward incident. Bangladesh is observing Independence Day today with due solemnity and respect, commemorating the historic liberation war in 1971 that gave birth to the independent Bangladesh. Bangladesh celebrates the day in commemoration of the Declaration of Independence from Pakistan in 1971 by the father of the nation, Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, before he was arrested by Pakistani forces. The declaration led to a start of a guerrilla struggle against Pakistan to separate the country from Pakistan. Independence for Bangladesh finally came in December that year after a 9-month guerrilla war against the Pakistan army. Prime Minister of Bangladesh Sheikh Hasina hoisted the flag of the country, after which a parade and cultural programs were held. Australia powered into the World Cup final with a 95-run victory over defending champions India in Sydney today. Steve Smith struck a fluent 105 from 93 balls and Aaron Finch 81 as Australia posted 328 for 7, the highest score in the World Cup semi-final. India made a solid start to their reply but lost 4 wickets for 32 runs and fell well short of 233 despite captain MS Dhoni making 65. Australia will meet fellow co-host New Zealand in Sunday's final in Melbourne. For India, the defense of the trophy they won on home soil 4 years ago and a run of 16 consecutive wins in the major one-day tournaments, the World Cup and Champions Trophy is over. They can reflect on how their top order fell apart after openers Shikhar Dhawan and Rohit Sharma put on 76 inside 13 overs. Even then, Australia failed to fully capitalise on the second wicket stand of 182 between Smith and Finch, as Michael Clarke's men were stunted by the off-breaks of Ravichandran Ashwin and a curious collective failure against back-of-a-length bowling. As Smith and Finch traded sixes, Australia looked set to move out of sight, but Smith's hook to deep square leg off Yadav signalled a showing of the pace. 4 wickets for 51 runs left Shane Watson and James Faulkner to rebuild momentum, with Mitchell Johnson's 9-ball 27 carrying Australia to a score they would have earlier seen to be the bare minimum. And Clarke's men were made to look vulnerable by Rohit and Dhawan, the former going after the short ball, the latter targeting Faulkner with drive after drive. When Suresh Naira edged Faulkner, all seemed to rest on Dhoni, but his acceleration did not come until the 43rd over, with 121 required and only 4 wickets in hand. Glenn Maxwell's direct hit ensured the assault was not sustained, and any slim hopes India maintained departed with their captain.